Good afternoon, beloved TIs. I'm Melissa Miller, and welcome to this week's episode of The Chosen Heroes. As always, I want to start out for a prayer for each and every one of you. God, universe, thank you for your presence and protection over this podcast and each person in attendance. God, you are our shield, our strength, and we stand on your promise to usurp the enemy and frequencies that attack us. Thank you for your divine intervention exposing these programs. Thank you for positioning key people with inside knowledge of these deep state programs to bravely come forward, exposing more details publicly. God, for those who have succumbed to these attacks, those going through them right now, for the children and for the future generations to come, cover us all and cover targeted justice. I ask you, Father, that you seat everyone in attendance and who watches this later on with hope, guidance, direction, and action steps to take to restore their health, happiness, reclaiming their life and their well-being. Thank you, God. I'm so happy that each and every one of you could be here today. I have prepared a presentation on navigating V2K. Me personally, my V2K began back in 2012 after I started to expose, I guess you would consider myself a whistleblower for a company that I worked for in Houston, Texas, that was doing things that were of a ill consequence to their own employees and to the public community. So very, 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 very much a corrupt situation, and I began to expose it. And then once I exposed it, then I was introduced to, get first time loss, which I really do feel was how my brain was captured in terms of frequency and knowing what to tune into to latch on to me. And then it went into gang stalking, and then it went into V2K and remote neural monitoring, and also directed energy attacks on my body. So I've checked off quite a few of the boxes, and I'm sure most of you have multiple situations as well going on in terms of your attacks. And so I do this for each and every one of you. You're such a beloved community, and our greatest power is exposure. So please pick up that sort of exposure. So let's get on into the presentation that I prepared. There's lots of content to cover. And then once the presentation ends, I'm going to review through the chat, and we're going to answer some of your questions. So please, as I go through the presentation, just go ahead and start asking away some questions. Let me go ahead and share my screen for the presentation. And here we go. All right. So let's get into the weekly review for targeted justice. If you haven't written the Supreme Court, please do so. This is so important. A video from Richard Lighthouse and Dr. Lynn Burr was posted on the Targeted Justice Rumble page. Sorry for the typo. It discusses writing letters and provides a letter template to use in support of the petition for rehearing our case this week, which is 12/6. So very, very immediate need to get more letters out. Please focus on the clerks. A list of clerks was posted on Targeted Justice Substack page. So send those letters overnight via FedEx or DHL if you can. The month of December is our annual fundraising drive. Give a Christmas gift to a targeted individual worldwide. Please make a donation to Targeted Justice, which is accessible through targetedjustice.com's website. And keep voting for Anna and Dr. Burr. You can access the links through the Targeted Justice newsletter on Substack. Each reader must create an account, log in, and then vote. And visited Targeted Justice Substack for more details. The monthly newsletter has exceeded an astonishing 195,000 views for the very first time. If you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, please do so. It's only $8 per month. If you know of other TIs without the means to subscribe, just consider gifting them a subscription for the holidays. You can paste the last newsletter and share on social media to continue spreading the word around the world. That will also promote that, the newsletter itself, and you're also getting, information out there for those who may be in the, state of confusion, not knowing what's going on with them and looking for answers. Exciting news, Dr. Joanna Lipka, medical doctor, has joined the advisory board. An announcement is forthcoming this week. And Emmanuel will be starting podcasts in Japan soon. We continue to look for those worldwide podcasters. We are really, branching out all over the world, getting the message out there for TIs. And please just go ahead and check out also the latest and greatest Targeted Justice merchandise. As always, we are walking billboards of bringing awareness and education to the public. And Targeted Justice has a Printify account. You can search for them on Printify. All right. So next up, Targeted Justice. We've already gone through that. And here we are, navigating V2K. So, introduction. What is V2K? How is it possible? This is like that $1 million, question that everybody has that has got the V2K. So, we know that, of course, microwave auditory effect is a name, voice to skull, V2K for short, voice of God, microwave hearing, the Frey effect. There's lots of names for it, but it's all the same. This technology has been featured on mainstream outlets like the History Channel, TED Talk, Wired, Forbes. But what is not public knowledge is this technology is used against non-consenting civilians around the world for experimentation. So us picking up that sort of exposure and getting it out there is what benefits us all. The public needs to know. The microwave auditory hearing effect is the perception of sound created by exposure to pulsed or modulated radio frequencies, between the 400, 700 megahertz range. Typically, the perceived sounds are generated directly to the subject, without any need of receiving a receiving electronic device. So it was first reported as an effect by persons working in a vicinity of radar transponders during World War II. So this has been around for a minute. And Alan H. Frey was the first American to publish information on the microwave auditory effect. Frey's human auditory system response to modulated electronic energy appeared in the Journal of Applied Physiology in 1961. So each human, each one of us has a unique brain frequency that can be tuned into, captured, by AI supercomputers, through satellites. That's how, they direct this, weapon on us and make it possible. So once connected, that two-way communication is achieved. So essentially every thought, reaction, emotion is logged and recorded for analysis, and a series of manipulation techniques are launched out and tested on us. So an example of one of those U.S. patents, there's multiple, is 4877027. This one was from 1989, and it states that it's a hearing system for human beings in which high frequency electromagnetic energy is projected through the air to the head of the human being, and the electromagnetic energy is modulated to create signals that can be discerned by the human regardless of hearing ability of the person. So now we're going to get into what is the experience like, having V2K. So V2K can start out as an occasional distance voice, buzzing, hissing, background noises. then it just kind of escalates and ramps up into a clearer hearing and distinction. So again, V2K can mimic. It is the ultimate mimicker, okay? TIs, it's the ultimate mimicker. And it can take on and portray God, spiritual beings, family, neighbors, departed loved ones, and co-workers. It's a lure, okay? It's a tactic to get you to latch the target so that they can be mind controlled and, execute destructive behavior. So for those who may experience like spiritual beings or the voice of God, again, voice of God was used in, war times to trick, the enemy to thinking that, their God, their specific God was talking to them and asking them to relent. So remember, this has been around for a minute, okay? What isn't known is that it's being done on innocent civilians like all of us, okay? So when they do this destructive, behavior and going back into the voice of God and spiritual beings, a spiritual being and God is never going to ask you to do anything that's going to put you in direct harm. It's not going to advise you to harm another person, to retaliate and such. This is all part of the mockery that is V2K. It is very important that you stay centered with yourself, knowing that this is advanced, extremely advanced technology trying to put one over on you, to harm you, to discredit you, and to make you act out in ways that get you labeled as, mentally unstable. So please take that into consideration, okay? So for some, including myself, time loss and gang stalking is like an initiation phase that leads into V2K, along with other forms of harassment. As I said, each one of us could have a different variety or just a singular instance of harassment attack. The gang stalking, from what I, in my 12 plus years of experience, I have been able to observe that it kind of sets the stage for the target to become very hyper alert, hypersensitive to the point of paranoia. Okay, that's like the game, right? And while you're in that state, in that constant state of defensive survival is when you're the most vulnerable. You're so vulnerable right then and there. So that's where it's real easy for them to slide into that V2K, right? Because you're in your most vulnerable state. You're being gang stalked and having these other things that, happened right before it. So keep that into consideration too. Psychological manipulation is in every essence of these harassment technologies, okay? It is across the board. It is manipulation. So it can be repetitive brainwashing phrases which attempt to condition the brain to be more susceptible for hostile takeover. And gaslighting is always a part of it in V2K, blaming the target for something they didn't do, threatening, violence, harm against you, your family, your pets, your friends. And then the narrative is always misinformation and deceptive to invoke a reaction for you to appear mentally unstable to others, right? So, and this misinformation it can be very tricky because they can take one little piece of truth and where they got that truth, they stole it from you. They either stole it from your computer, they stole it from observing and watching you, they stole it from reading your thoughts, they stole it from your cell phone. Just remember, they got that one piece of truth, or something that you can measure up to make them become more believable so that you will pay attention to them and then go into the very destructive. So again, it's a hook and bait. It's a hook and bait thing with V2K. So V2K is very predatory, of course, stealing that information from you. But listen to this. I'm an analyst, so I have my brain is wired for patterns. So I started collecting data on my perpetrators and looking for those patterns. And one of the things that I've come up with is they will learn your insecurities. Okay, so your thoughts are invaded, your dialogue with loved ones and your day-to-day. So they're observing for any weakness and insecurity that you may have, your traumatic events that cause you pain from past and present. And in turn, they use this information that was stolen from you as a weapon against you to terrorize you and to barter and bribe you. We even had my V2K say, oh, if I write a letter and say that it's all in my head and send it to XYZ, then they'll stop and give me my privacy back. Lie, deception, don't fall for it. Anything that they're trying to use to barter with you with something that they've stolen from you, they even threaten to expose and send things to my family if I did not, write that letter. Lie, tactic, it's a game. Don't fall for it. So you have to think of this as, it's a war on you, right? So they're going to try every trick in the game to get you to hook in and to latch on. So some of these predatory attacks can include electronic rape along with the V2K. And for those who know, we know. And the absurdities and the vulgarities that come with that, it's all a tactic. So just like war, these predators have learned our vulnerabilities and weaknesses to gain leverage, power, and control over us, to defeat us. And that's just like any war. You've got spies out there trying to, gain leverage and one up to defeat. So V2K is very pattern driven. There are live moments where with a primary handler, and sometimes they've got a couple of enlistees chiming in. So you can tell the live versus the AI. So the AI is just based off of what has been learned about you and how you live day to day and how you may have an emotional moment, or you might think an insecure thought or something. And here comes all the repetitive phrases. So you can it builds up and it becomes very much a pattern. It's like, oh yeah, there we go again with that one, right? And so be cognizant of that, that this AI is learning you and reading your thoughts and developing these schemes to get you to latch on and to engage. So sleep deprivation it happens to us who have the V2K 24/7, and night attacks can definitely increase and prevent us from getting rest, which compromises our well-being and our immune system. And of course, V2K is distractive. With the criticizing, it can be cunning and baiting for reaction. It can make you lose focus. It wastes your time, and it lowers your productivity. So I've come up with, just some short phrases, of what the game of V2K is. And it is to distract, which leads you to poor work quality, job loss, and financial ruin. It can shame you, ridicule you, vulgarity, blame you, baiting you with misinformation, disempower you, decline your self-worth and value, self-doubt, second guessing yourself and constantly procrastinating. It can isolate you and disconnect you from your life and your loved ones and being social. Discredit you, being mislabeled as having a mental illness, schizophrenia, or delusional, when we know that, there's so many of us around the world. The number just continues to grow. And most of us, well beyond the age of when schizophrenia and that, sets in. So, again, it's all about discrediting. Because if they discredit you, then they can keep you isolated and continue their games upon you. Because if you're out and about, living your life, it's a little harder for them to do that, right? So isn't that our goal? We want to get back into our life. Destroy, well-being and health. Depression, it's like, why is this happening to me? When is it going to stop? It can lead into self-harm, destructive behaviors, and for some, death. So we as a community, we need to rise up and embrace one another in unity and support, because some people are struggling. And if you haven't watched the Stages of Being a Targeted Individual, which was my premiere episode, please go back on the channels and take a look at it. So remember, once you understand the game, because this is the game, it no longer has that power and control over you. Now we're human, we can slip, right? But just remember, it is a game and it takes two to play, right? So remove yourself from the game. So I've created a freedom from deception prayer that I find that is very beneficial. If you're having a tough moment with all of this, just recite it. God, universe, today I take a stand against any deception coming against my body through words, frequencies, and technologies that are trying to root themselves in my life. I bind deception right now in your name. I reject any attempt to get me to buy into a lie. I ask that every veil be removed from my eyes, that I will not be blinded by opinions, thoughts, and ideas of what comes against me, but I will know the true voice of God. I stand on your word that you set the captives free, and I declare today that I am free of all deception and manipulation. In your name I pray. Amen. So I have created some tips for navigating the V2K. Again, this is based off of my own personal 12 plus years experience of, navigating it myself and what I've learned. And I want to share that wisdom with you today. So just know, first and foremost, it is a trick. It's a cognitive hoax, okay? Do not take the bait by engaging or responding to it, because the moment that you do, you've extended your hand to take the dance. It's also like, it's that alligator going for that death roll. So you just need to be centered and focused and do not engage, okay? So another thing that was very beneficial to me is I researched psychology behind emotional manipulation, gaslighting, and stalking, armoring myself with knowledge to understand the mindset of a predator, because this is very predative. So you will learn that in doing so in this research, as I did, that there's a common thread in all of this. And the goal is to control you and to overpower you and to get you to recoil and to step out of your life. Okay. Don't do that. So retrain your brain to focus on other sounds. Okay. This is very, very important. And you can do this. It just takes practice. So you can focus on background noises and such. And I'll get into some more tips also in the summary on how you can do that. And keep your thoughts centered on your life, hobbies, and well-being. It's just noise, okay? It's just garbage and noise. So understand that your reaction and emotion to the V2K is the desired outcome. So, starve them from it. If you slip up and respond or react, you've got to train yourself to quickly redirect and center yourself and disengage. Okay, just disengage from it, because it's that death roll. It's going to keep on. Your symptoms, your the feelings and sensations in your body is just going to be like a big wave coming over you, and the physical attack part of it is going to be so much more aggressive when you engage. So do not engage. So playing music is very good. Calming, uplifting, ambient sounds that mask the V2K. You can use several audio sources going at once. Strengthen your focus through cognitive exercises and games. In the resources page of my presentation, I have some examples that you can use. Because what you want to focus on is, making sure that you're strengthening your concentration, your focus, your memory retention, all of those things that are impacted by the V2K. So practice mindfulness, because meditation helps strengthen your focus and tuning out background noise. And noise cancellation, headphones are really good. I've got a suggestion in the resources slide. Time management, because V2K is always trying to rob you of time, okay? And they want you to not be productive and to get things done and to work and such. There is a method called the Pomodoro technique that, and you can Google it. And what it essentially is you set a timer, like a clock, a little timer, your phone, a manual dial, and you focus on one task during that time that timer is going for 25 minutes. And then you take a short break, like about 5 minutes, and then set the timer again, finish that task, or move on to another. So again, Pomodoro technique for time management. Retrain yourself to equate V2K as a TV station or a busy restaurant that produces a lot of background noise. Okay, see it as that. And know that all of this, noise it contains useless information that is not acknowledged or absorbed by you. So just like when you go, you hear, TVs being played over when you're out at a store, you're not paying attention to what's on it unless something really captures your attention, right? But you don't want it to. In the background noise, all that noise at a restaurant. So it's the same thing. It's just background noise. It is not relevant. It is not acknowledged. It is not absorbed by you. Positive affirmations are very beneficial, and I will be doing a podcast on those for those that are not familiar, and give you examples based off of different, subjects. Like you can use positive affirmations for focusing, for memory, for achieving goals, for prosperity, for self-improvement, for self-worth and empowerment, and healing your body. So very, very, very useful tool. Focus on your self-care. Engage in healthy choices and activities, hobbies. Get out in nature, interact with others, because this harassment wants to keep you in a state of defense so that you're isolated and pinned down and vibing at low vibrations, because all of this harassment technology that is used on us is all low vibration. What you have to focus on to turn the tables in your favor is raising your personal vibration. Okay. So no stinking thinking, positivity, healing, yourself and your past traumas. And those will be future podcasts that I will do as well. So also you can attend community calls through Targeted Justice on Mondays. Victory Through V2K is every evening. I do positive affirmations at the beginning. It's always such a great turnout. You learn so much. And again, it's all focused on V2K. It's wonderful. So in summary, V2K is fake news. All right. They are not your friend. They are not trying to help you. They are the enemy. This harassment is just a trick, a scam, and a scheme to mess with you. So disengage. Do not commit Oh, it's so important. Do not commit any actions requested by V2K. It is just all a lie. And they are really cunning and clever with it. So I can tell you, it is just a bait and hook. In the very beginning, the V2K would act like they were having sympathy for me if I was being down. And then I paid attention to it, and then they started laughing and making fun of that I even believed it. So, I mean, again, it's all a scam, and they can be very, very clever with it. So, it's just best to tune it out. It's background noise, background garbage that means nothing to you. Whatever you do, do not put yourself in danger or take action against another, because that is a goal of theirs. Because what does that do? You take action on someone, nobody's going to believe, this stuff in law enforcement or the medical community. We know that, okay? Our community is our support here. We know it's real. So remember, V2K can mimic others. So, and I'm not saying that, especially in gang stalking, they're not enlisting some perps to do some things, right? But don't take action on them, because it's not going to be them going to jail. It's going to be you going to jail and having charges. It's going to be you getting locked up and committed because you took action, okay? Don't fall for it. Avoid speaking to law enforcement and, of course, doctors about it, because that's what's going to get you mislabeled and having mental health issues. So avoid doing so. Regain control of your thoughts and reactions, practicing mindfulness. I know it's hard to think about meditation, but I'm telling you, if you do it on a daily basis and you just spend 5-10 minutes at a time and just really get centered, get focused, and just practice it, it will get stronger and it will improve over time. I have done this, and it takes time, and I did in the beginning. Of course, right now where I am at too, it's a daily practice for me. You have to take yourself out of the storm and go into mindfulness, okay? It's going to really help you out a lot. Strengthening your focus skills. You got to bleed that out and put it in the background. It's just noise. Do not engage. Don't take the verbal bait. The perpetrators, again, not your friends, not trying to help you. Retrain your subconscious and charge it with the task of being your firewall protector that rejects all criticism and misinformation. So a trick with the subconscious is inner child. Your inner child, any wounding that you may have had, parts of yourself that you reject. It's also known as the shadow self. You've got to be able to embrace all parts of yourself. One thing that I do on a regular basis, I start out my day going, I am one with my higher self. I am one with my inner child and all my parts. We are integrated as one, because those rejected parts of yourself, where you may lose your temper, you may, act in an undesirable way. We reject those, right? And they all live in your subconscious. So you want to embrace all parts of yourself, because some of those undesirable parts of ourselves is why we're such the fighters that we are today. So don't reject them, embrace your whole self and every aspect of yourself. And this is like a catalyst for your inner healing and forgiving yourself for any past wrongdoings or any perceived wrongdoings and things that, that you have rejected as part of yourself. This inner healing is the key to raising your vibration. Another future episode will be on that. So one thing and another thing you can do is speak to your subconscious. I just put my hands on the back of my head and I thank it. And I tell my subconscious, I love you for protecting me. I love you for rejecting any frequencies that are coming against me to harm me and canceling them out or transmuting them into a higher vibration and frequency for my own better good and highest good. And I thank you, subconscious, for not signaling the rest of my body and my organs, and protecting my mind from these frequencies and anything being spoken against me in the form of criticism. You will reject it. You've got to speak to it, give your body that love, and you will just see a shift come just by doing so. Please don't have empathy for your attackers. The majority of this is high-tech AI, advanced technology. And the predators participating in the harassment are just morally bankrupt, and they don't have any conscience, okay? They are rewarded and compensated for your reactions and suffering. So don't have empathy for them. Just focus on your self-healing and getting back into life and moving forward. Reclaim your power and health through healthy choices. Don't do things that are going to be destructive and put you in harm. Choose activities that, that make you become happier and more resilient, and focusing on your self-care, because you becoming happier and getting back into your life is the last thing they want you to do. So make sure you do it. And get back, into your life, and don't lose precious time and moments by giving it over to this harassment and this injustice that's being done to you from listening or engaging with the V2K. So I have a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt: "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Don't give it the consent." Okay. So I spoke about some resources. So noise canceling headphones. Sony makes a noise canceling headset that is, I put the model number up here, WH1000X. And for this broadcast will be posted on all the channels, YouTube, Rumble, my X account for the Chosen Heroes. So don't worry if you don't have a piece of paper or anything right now. You can refer back to it. I personally have these these noise canceling headphones. I like them. They are wireless, but I prefer the cable plug-in. For those who have like an iPhone, you can buy a very cheap, converter for the headphone jack to plug into your rapid charger on your cell phone. Also, some TIs have had benefit from using Aftershocks, which is a bone conduction headset. And they find benefit pairing those with binaural beats. So there's also an anti-tinnitus CD designed by electronic engineer Dave Case. And the website is anti-tinnitusv2k.com. All he asks for is the cost for shipping. And positive affirmations, big game changer there. I know it sounds like, you're right in the thick of all this. You're still dealing with some anger from all of it because it is such an injustice, but please give it a try. InnerTune app. So that is available for download. They have a free trial, I believe, for a week. I think the annual subscription is under $30. So it's pretty cost effective if you find benefit from it. Ambient sounds. I recently came upon an app called A Soft Murmur. Again, A Soft Murmur app. What's really cool about this app too, and you don't have to pay for the subscription, you can just use it. It has a variety of multiple sounds that you can play all at one time. So I find with V2K, if you have multiple sounds at one time, it's harder for the V2K to be prominent. So you can choose white noise, you can choose like nature sounds, you can choose rain. I mean, there's all of these variety of different sounds. You can mix it up and find, the combination that works for you. And again, cognitive strengthening games for memory retention, being able to retain something and focusing. There's a great app. It's called Elevate app. That one has a free trial as well. I found that it even helped me because, in this day and age, when you're on the phone spells for you and everything. It has even where you can get your spelling back. My V2K used to, harass me and say that I could never spell anything. So it's that negative. You got to replace it with a positive. So it really has just a great variety of things to improve you cognitively. So please, follow me, The Chosen Heroes on X, and subscribe to the channel at chosen_heroes. Also have the Rumble channel for Chosen Heroes, and then the email. So if you have a question for me and you want to ask me that offline, chosen_heroes@proton.me, and also follow Targeted Justice. There's a variety of ways to get in contact and to stay up to date on the latest news and our ever expanding global exposure of this harassment technology. They have email, website, targetedjustice.com, Substack, Rumble, Locals, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, Twitter. They are out there, and thank them for everything that they do. All right, let me get back. I'm going to go over to the chat, and let's take a look and see what questions you have. Okay, I'm going to show this one. Yes, cool breeze, Tony. The U.S. Army used V2K against enemies in the field in the Middle East to scare them away. Exactly. That was when it was deemed the voice of God. So they did the voice of Allah to them to relent and to put down their weapons and to retreat. Definitely. I've seen that published multiple times out there. And of course, yes, you're right. They're always wanting to take that truth out. Hi, Tyler. Tyler states, please help. They're killing me and my family. I'm receiving constant death threats every day while being cooked alive and told to take myself out, or they're going to do it for me. Tyler, I empathize with you. The same thing was said and done to me too, but I'm going to give you my 12 plus years of experience that they don't make good on it. They just want to keep you in a state of constant flight and fight, okay, to make you paranoid, to keep you isolated, so that you're not living your life and your potential, okay? Because if you look at it this way, we're all part of an experiment, and if we're not living, then they've lost the knowledge that they gain from the harassment and techniques that they use against us. I have been threatened. I can't even tell you how many hundreds of thousands of times that they were going to kill me and make it look like a suicide. They were going to kill my mother. They were going to kill my pets. And it's so many threats. I mean, that is such a tactic that they use. So I will pray for you, Tyler. I know this is hard. It's very scary. But here I am 12 plus years later, and just please try to keep that in mind and try to move forward with positiveness and taking action and steps to live again. Okay. Scott asks, what is your best advice on sleep deprivation? For me personally, I use a grounding mat. Now, you can ground outside. That dispels the energy and frequencies that is being done against your body. So I do a combination of things. So the first thing I have is my grounding mat. So that is, dispelling that frequencies that are coming against your body all the time, and it helps with inflammation. It helps me with sleep. The other thing I do right before I go to bed is essential oils there's some with very high frequencies because, again, all of this constant attack against your body is just degrading and lowering your frequency. So right before I go to bed, I put rose oil, essential oil. I put it on, what some call the third eye and the temples areas. Then I go over to my ear, like right here, up at the top of the ear, behind the ear. And then I rub the oil along my vagus nerve, because vagus nerve, again, is the signaler, the great signaler for all nerves in your body. So you want it to stay high vibration and calm. Okay. So I also put it on my chest, on my abdomen, on behind my knees, because that's a lymphatic, as well as this is lymphatic also, the back of my neck, the base, and the whole underneath the skull. So all those pressure points that you can put that on, and then the lower back of my spine. So I use a combination of rose oil, which is the absolute highest frequency. Frankincense is very high frequency. I also use, for any kind of head pain and relief, I use a combination of peppermint and lavender. So if you're having a lot of head pain, then peppermint and lavender combination, again, on the different areas. Another thing that I have found relief from too, you want to go to bed as calm as you can. I also have like a pro-life vibration plate that you stand on, which can help with lymphatic drainage and toning, but relaxing. So I just let it, just stand there for about 10 minutes and just, vibrate. It shakes your whole body. So it's forcing that tension to come out of your body and get you in a more relaxed state. And I even sometimes just sit on it as a second go round because of the shoulders and the back, just loosening everything up. Put the oils on, have my grounding mat, and then if needed, I use my the noise canceling headset. And sometimes I'll just put that headset, that Sony, on, and that right there, it just takes it out. Now you could try, playing the different ambient sounds from the apps and stuff like that too. I do that also, but that's usually my routine. Juice. Hi guys, it's really nice to finally find people that are fighting this nightmare like I am, although I'm sorry y'all are suffering as well. Thank you so much for your kind words. We're all in this together. We got each other's backs, and we're going to uplift and love one another and expose this injustice. Okay. Also, they are hitting me with DEWs really heavy the past couple of months. I'm waking up with migraines every single day. I feel your pain. The migraines, again, the combination of the peppermint and lavender on those pressure points. Another thing that I do when, I'm having a lot of the direct energy attacks is I have a red light therapy little tabletop lamp that just, radiates, and I just let it radiate my face, because what that does is it takes away, puts down the inflammation, stimulates, the blood flow. Now, migraines can be an over restriction of the blood vessels, so you can kind of try it out and see if it helps. I found benefit from it. There's a lot of therapeutic effect on red light therapy, and some of those devices you can get that they're pretty reasonable. Okay. Oh, here's another good one. He states he uses EMF protection blanket, hoodie, and blanket overhead every night. It seems to help. I have a mission darkness. I actually have it right here. For those moments where, my head is feeling, not so good, it looks like this. So mission darkness. I find some benefit from it. But again, I do a combination of things, and everybody's going to be a little bit different in what provides them a little bit more relief than others. But I definitely have tried a variety. So yes, I do find that some benefit is with those as well, along with the magnets too. Cool Breeze Tony asked, do you believe in implants? I definitely believe in it. I also believe that, there's a lot of things that go into some of these shots that they try to give out as well that can create, little, make us more receptive in the form of them being little antennas. For me personally, I wouldn't be surprised if I have some myself, because I think at times of surgery, any woman who's gone in and kind of had a biopsy done on their breast, they implant with a little titanium marker. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that is used as well. So there's just a variety of methods that can be done. And there's lots of, patents and such to support the implants that have been done through surgery and what have you. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. Well, as always, I do this for each and every one of you. And our greatest power in all of this is exposure. So consider, if you haven't already, I know X is flooded with lots of TIs. And oh my gosh, some of them have the most amazing stories and information out there. If you just search for hashtag targeted individual, you'll find them. But why not consider creating your own account and telling your own story? Because there cannot be denial with as many of us that are out there going through this. So we are creating such waves of awareness by sharing our stories, to defeat the lie that this isn't possible when it is. So I believe that this is a very ripe time to expose these programs. I believe that more and more people are going to come forward, because I've heard so many stories where people who served for our country were then and were in active war and had V2K afterwards, and were aware of it as a form of communication. And then once they got out, they were blasted and experimented with. So there's so many stories out there, and I have compassion for each and every one of you. And then I had a comment here. Thank you for helping us stand up against this. No, thank you. Thank you for being a part of this podcast today. Thank each and every one of you. I pray for you on a daily basis. My prayer is always the same, that the mega data banks and equipment and technologies being used against us for the collapse and fall of that, and for the data banks to be exposed with all the information that they've stole from us and what they've done to our body, and that it be, front and center in the public. So just every single day, I pray for that, and I have faith that exposure in a grander scale is coming forward, because even people in classified positions have come forward and are coming forward, because they either, for whatever reason, something internal that they, exposed, or they just have it's ate at their soul and then they want to get out. And I really do emphasize for those in those positions too, because it's like a catch-22. Once you join, you can't get out without consequence, right? And the brave soul Robert Duncan, and all he risked by giving us the wonderful information that he did in his books. There's just so many out there, because we do this, we stand up against this injustice and expose it. Because if we don't take a stand, then what about the children? What about the future generations? What about those that are right now in complete confusion? We, with our armed knowledge and wisdom from our own personal experience, have a advantage over this, because we can reel them in and cast that net and bring them forward. This is why, I call this the chosen heroes. We really are. We are strong. We've had every advanced technology come up to us, and we're still standing here and we're breathing today. And we are one. We are in unison. We are in unity. And we are in this together. So there's just so many ways that we can reach out to people in the community. I always say, if you're isolated from family and friends because they don't believe what's going on to you, or if they're just toxic in general, just cut them out and focus on you. You can make friends through these conference calls and meetings that we have. Reach out to people, do a direct message, say, hey, do you mind, just chatting offline? I've done it myself. You have a wealth of information and community at your hands. So take advantage of it. So my podcasts are every Sunday, in different topics for one of the questions that we had there. So every Sunday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. But don't fret if you can't tune in and watch it live. It will be posted on Targeted Justice Rumble page, the Chosen Heroes page. It will be posted on X, and then it'll also be posted on YouTube. So just search for Chosen Heroes, okay? And then you'll find them. Hi, Tanya. Good day to you. Yes. Again, how do so many normal people know nothing about it? It's kind of like that best kept secret, because, mainstream media is going to squash anything about this and deny it, because, that's the name of the game, right? So we have to be grassroots in this. We got to be underground. We got to form our community and expose, because that's the only way. There's already key people, I believe, that God has put in a position to start exposing this at greater levels. Okay. So what can we do in the interim while this great exposure is in progress? Heal ourselves. Okay. Because remember, they want to keep you pinned down in 3D low vibration and frequencies. Okay. Because that's how they latch onto you. They need to latch onto your fear. They need to latch onto your insecurities. They need to latch onto your phobias. They need to latch on to your trauma to keep you hooked. Okay. So this was a divine guided instance that I had in the very beginning. And I suddenly got the thought, if you get to the root of what hurts you, then it can't hurt you anymore. So, because this is what the design of all of these attacks are, is to keep you in fight or flight, to keep your neural circuits overstimulated, your immune system suppressed, to degrade your health, and just to play the game on you. So again, it takes two to play. So step off of the control stick and not play the game with these people anymore, because these are all tactics. It's all manipulation. Every single form of every single one of these advanced technologies is about manipulating and controlling you, and taking over your mind and stealing your knowledge, and then gaslighting you with it. So just take your power back saying, not going to play today. Okay? You're welcome, Scott. Well, thank you again, everybody. It's been a real pleasure. Again, if you think of something offline, just shoot me an email at chosen_heroes@proton.me. And again, this podcast will be available for you to watch at a later time if you want to review any of the information that is out there. And please feel free to post this podcast out in other TI communities. Let's just spread the word like fire. We're going to get that knowledge out there. We're going to get that exposure because it's our divine right to reclaim our lives and from this injustice that has been done to us. Thank you so much. Much love to you all. Peace and love.
Targeted Justice Media.